Right now, stop and frisk. We're going to be live from outside the courthouse where the controversial policing technique is on trial. And also tonight, is the GOP ready to, as they say, come out of the closet and get behind same-sex marriage? Well, in the wake of Rob Portman's big announcement, are other Republicans trying to follow and find a way here to follow suit? And later, CVS's new policy attempts to push employees into healthier lifestyles. But the question is, did they cross the line from employer to nanny? We're going to dig into that and much more. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thanks for joining us here. Wednesday evening, March 20th. We're going to begin tonight with stop and frisk. As we all know, the controversial policing tactic, no stranger on this program and no stranger to debates throughout the 5 boroughs and beyond. Well, it is a tactic employed, as you know, by the NYPD, which allows police officers to stop, question, and frisk people that they deem suspicious looking. Now, the practice has exploded under Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and earlier this month, the NYPD made its 5 millionth stop since Bloomberg took office. Now, more than 86% of the people that are subjected to this were either black or Latino. And get this, nearly 9 out of 10 stops resulted in no arrests and no summons. That's why stop and frisk is on trial as we speak. So on Monday and Tuesday of this week, witnesses, they testified about being humiliated when they were stopped and frisked. You had a 24-year-old student, Nicholas Pert, who broke down on the stand when describing his experience.
It happens to so many people. It happened to me. You know, people shouldn't be stopped for going to the gym or going to the corner store. That's not keeping the city safe.
Now, a New York City police officer, he also testified yesterday saying his superiors pushed him to fill stop and frisk quotas. It's not a new charge here. They say numbers drive a lot of this. Adil Polanco claims that his superiors told him he needed 20 summonses, 5 street stops, and 1 arrest per month. He says it was all about the numbers, not doing stops properly. That's what he testified to. And when we spoke, I should say, with Polanco last year, he told us about being forced to make those quotas.
We're being forced to arrest innocent people. We're being forced. Everything was about numbers. They wanted X amount of summonses. They wanted X amount of arrests. They wanted stop and frisk. They wanted everything. And they were obsessed with the numbers.
Now, Polanco is one of 3 whistleblowers testifying in the class action lawsuit. In testimony, it continued today in the Lower Manhattan courtroom. And Dominic Carter, he was on scene. He joins us now with more. Hey, Dominic, we've been talking about this for a long time. Is what you saw in the courtroom today basically just an exclamation point on what we've been talking about for years in New York?
Well, I would have to agree with you wholeheartedly, Richard. Let me just tell you this. Lawyers for all the involved parties are now gone. They left the courtroom tonight without comment. It was yet, Richard, another day of dramatic testimony. The officer you mentioned, who's appeared on your show in an interview with you, Officer A. Polanco of the Bronx, I saw him just a few minutes ago, and he informed us that he couldn't talk to us at this time because he was actually on the police department's time. But it's his testimony that was, again, the focus of the courtroom, in which during the court session, actual audio tapes, which, Richard, you have also played on your show, but those audio tapes were the focus of Judge Scheinland's courtroom earlier today. We heard lots of talk, Richard, of what you just mentioned, in which now a second officer, and the term that they use, 1, 20, and 5. 1, 20, and 5. And what that means, Richard, as you said, 1 arrest, 20 summons per month, and also 5 stops under stop and frisk. Now, a dramatic testimony late this afternoon from a second officer, another whistleblower by the name of Pedro Serrano, who works out of the 40th Police Precinct in the Bronx, and which I'm quoting here, Richard, he said that they told him point blank, his commanders, that at the end of the month, if he was lacking in activity, that there would be retribution. He was asked, does the NYPD impose quotas? His answer, yes. He again went over those numbers of 1, 20, and 5. And what was shocking, Richard, he described how he feels that he's being set up to either his life is endangered or to be fired. And he talked about his job. He said that he's not looking forward. This is Officer Serrano, who took the stand about 4:15 this afternoon, and he said he's not looking forward to going back to work in 3 days. He's fearful of what will happen. He says his locker has already been turned upside down, and there's stickers of rats, meaning that he doesn't protect his comrades, all over his locker. So an interesting day, Richard, and it continues tomorrow. That's it from Lower Manhattan. Let's go back to you, Richard, in the studio.
You got it, Dominic. And one piece of news here, they did reach an agreement. They're going to have an inspector general, basically a monitor that the both sides have agreed on that'll oversee this. We'll see, how the trial results in, but in the meantime, they're going to get an independent third party who's going to kind of oversee the practice, right?
Indeed, at first the NYPD was against this, but right now, Richard, the NYPD is losing the court of public opinion, so indeed that monitor will take place. Christine Quinn, the council speaker, played a role with that, city leaders. Let me just tell you this one last thing, Richard. From sitting inside the courtroom, it's very interesting to see how this is playing out. A large federal courtroom. We were sitting in the jury pen. Reporters were put in the jury pen. To my immediate right, Judge Shineland and the witness right in front of me, and you have about 3 layers of lawyers. You have the plaintiffs, the city, and other lawyers, and then towards the back of the courtroom, it's open to the public. So this continues, and as of right now, the NYPD, as of right now, it's important to point out that the city maintains they have done nothing wrong, that this is a good policing tactic, they say, but as of right now, they are losing, Richard, the court of public opinion.
All right, Dominic, good enough. Thank you very much. Now, as we talked about the court of public opinion divided sharply on this issue. Plaintiffs say practice applied discriminatory manner, but the mayor and police commissioners say stop and frisk, a life-saving, vital tool that's helped to cut down crime in the city. Now, the judge on the case, who has in earlier rulings expressed concern about the policy, isn't being asked here to ban it altogether, but she does have the power to order reforms here to how the tactic is used. And the plaintiffs, they want a court-appointed monitor, as we talked about, to oversee changes to the way the police make stops. No guarantee whatever deal they struck is going to go through. It's still got to be okayed by the mayor. All right, let's bring in our panel on this.